there's anything we know about Texas weather, it will keep us on our toes. We have storms in the area, and I mean, we talked about the chance of rain today. I kept it fairly conservative. But not only do we have rain and some thunderstorms, we have a couple of really just at this point one severe storm. We did have a storm earlier that looked like it could have been uh, showing, signs of maybe becoming severe. It weakened significantly, and the remnants of that are now in parts of Johnson, Ellis, and Hill counties from Itasca over to Midlothian. But right now, the strongest storm is going to be this one right here in Bosque County from Clifton up towards Meridian. Decent hail threat right here in the Clifton area. And, I was conversing with someone a moment ago about whether or not this is a miss by the Storm Prediction Center or something. We're on the back end of that marginal risk. And I had been on the same kind of wavelength as the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service that the severe threat was likely going to be south and east of us. But it turns out that maybe things were just a little bit off center from where we thought, and we have enough lift in our area to have a few storms. Now, I think it's still likely, or it's still at least possible, but I think likely is a decent thing to say, that this storm will weaken as it moves northeastward. I think that there's more stable air. It's cooler. We are on the cooler side, so to speak, of a stationary front. The cold front, the stronger front, will move in later this evening. And that will bring the colder temperatures that will have us back to at least closer to normal temperatures this weekend. But right now we have these storms right in our area. If we put this into motion here, you'll see that this one, and this is a more detailed radar, so sometimes it takes a little bit of a running start there. But you can see that, the severe thunderstorm warning has progressed with this. I'm trying to figure out a way, honestly, to see if I can make it to where the warning won't evolve with the radar, because I know that could probably be a little bit distracting there. But the severe thunderstorm warning in place for parts of Bosque County until 2:15, so about another half hour. But this storm is headed right for Whitney, and up to this point, it hasn't really shown much of a weakening trend here. So in the Clifton area, headed right towards the Whitney area, eventually headed northeastward towards Hillsborough, could be headed towards parts of Ellis County after that. There could be some heavy rain as far as, northern Hill County, southern Johnson County at this point. But the severe part of the storm, that's what you're looking at in the Clifton area that is headed towards Hillsborough. If we zoom this out a little bit, you can see that across our area, this is really the only storm right now. You can see some rain, maybe a few rumbles of thunder back in Hamilton County, down towards Gatesville. But this is definitely where we are looking at the stronger storm. And the Storm Prediction Center actually just released, and I wonder if it will show the updated contours here. So this is the severe risk for today. You can see that our area is just covered with, the light green, which is just standard thunderstorms. And then this is the old advisory. It'll take a moment for it to load into this program. But the new lines, the new advisory from the Storm Prediction Center carries this farther north up to about southern Ellis County through Hill County. So essentially just enough to accommodate this storm. So that's, kind of what we're looking at in terms of those advisories, but nothing north of this. This is kind of the back end of all of this, but it was just a few miles off, and a few miles off sometimes is our area. I've been telling you that for the last few days, that we are sort of kind of in the just right on that line, right? And that's what's made it kind of tough to communicate and tough to forecast, is that we were kind of right there at kind of the convergence of maybe some severe weather or probably not. So it's just, hey, this is the way that it goes sometimes. When you're kind of on that line, you kind of have to be ready for either direction. It may not be any severe weather, may not be really anything, or we might get some decent rain. Now, I'm not sure, I'll also say, I'm not sure how much of this rain that you're seeing stretching from Itasca up through Maypearl, let's see, let's get a little closer there. There's Granby there, Midlothian, over towards Cleveland and Alvarado. I'm not sure how much of this is actually reaching the ground. Sometimes what you're seeing here is the upper level clouds, the anvil, if you will, that's shooting off the top of that. So unclear how much of this is actually reaching the ground, but definitely rain reaching the ground there in Bosque County. And if you are kind of wondering what's going on here, if you missed the video that I did, I believe it was last month, we have changed up the live stream a little bit. We're going to be going with this setup. This setup allows me to be more, to be better and more quickly informed, to be more efficient with the controls of the radar and everything. So we are going to move forward with this new setup that allows me to be much more kind of in control, much more information getting to me more quickly, and it's overall an easier setup, which makes my job easier, which is a win, I think, for everybody. John Fenton, rain definitely reaching the ground in Midlothian. I appreciate the information there. That is definitely helpful. So this is where we have the storm right now. It is headed towards Whitney. So if you're in Hill County right now, you do have a severe storm. And from what I can tell, I've had some issues with the velocity data here. Yeah. So from what I can tell, there are some gustier winds in this storm, but the greater threat that I have seen has been the threat of hail. And let me see if I can switch over to that. I've had some issues with the data in this program, which has not flattered me at all. I am not. I'm hoping that that will resolve itself. Of course, vertically integrated liquid data has always been finicky in whatever program I've used. So hopefully we will get that soon. But you can see where the pinks and the purples are. That's where we're having that greater hail threat. Ryan, you're asking what the conditions in Whitney are going to be like, or in Temple, hospital, family at home. So that's what we're talking about. I mean, we have this severe storm headed towards the Whitney area. So gusty winds of 60 miles per hour, 1 inch hail possible, and that's going to be the heaviest impact from this storm. This is not a tornadic situation. At least it doesn't look that way at this point. So I don't really think that it's going to be a tornadic situation. I'm not really concerned about that at this point, but I do think that we will be looking at least that hail threat and those gusty winds in that particular storm. Do we have it VIL yet? I'm assuming we do not. Well, hopefully that will come to us soon, because that is a great tool. So I'm sorry I'm kind of switching around here, but just trying to get some tools to work here. So this storm's track, and I'm going to cautiously proceed. Yeah, see, that's such a mess. Sometimes these tracks are, this stuff gets messy quickly. So I can put the track on here, but there's so many, and it's just a mess, and that's why I get cautious with this stuff. But this particular storm, I mean, you can see that track going right through. Yeah, we'll just okay. I'm going to get rid of those because that just gets messy there. So the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled at this point. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably answer most of those questions here shortly with this summation. But this particular storm, the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled. I'm not entirely sure why. They may be issuing a new warning now that will probably include parts of Hill, Ellis, and Navarro counties. I think because this was getting close to the edge of that line, and it was going to have to be redone anyway. Because I don't exactly see this storm weakening at this point. If anything, it looks like that hail core may be getting more concentrated. But I expect this particular storm to make its way towards Hillsborough, eventually maybe towards Italy and Frost, Blooming Grove over maybe to Alma and Alma, Rice, Ennis area maybe. So eventually, this thing will probably just kind of ride between I-22 or Highway 22. Um, all right, give me a moment here. Between 22 and 34. So kind of right there on the line. That's kind of where I'm seeing this thing going right now. These things can turn and shift and that sort of thing. The National Weather Service is now saying that the storm is weakened below severe limits. Um, so we'll have to see what this does in the next couple of scans. So let's put this back into motion here, and this will show you kind of the history of that warning. But this storm, I mean, it doesn't look to me like it's weakening, but the National Weather Service, they have better radar than I do. So I'm assuming I'm gonna trust their judgment and run with that. But I will say that gusty winds and hail are probably still a threat with this particular storm. Will this hit during pickup times for school, 3 p.m.? I mean, this particular storm, I'm thinking in the next hour, it may be closer to southern Ellis County. So we gotta wait and see what this looks like, because if it is starting a weakening trend, then that would follow the same trend as the last storm that was behind it, or ahead of it rather, and that would be consistent with kind of what we've been thinking. So if this storm is in fact weakening, it will continue to do that point through Hill County and onward from there. May still be some rain out and about, and I know that can make things inconvenient, but as far as the severe weather threat, that may very well be subsiding here if this continues that weakening trend. Jessica, you said your daughter is driving home from work for the first time in Whitney at 2, praying the hail stays away. So she'll just need to be careful. Unfortunately, this may be a learning opportunity, but if worst case scenario, hey, if she's able to hang out at work for a little while, if she's more comfortable just kind of letting this thing pass, no shame in that. So just make sure that she is careful about this and is smart about what she's doing. But you know, if taking a little time is the preferable idea there, then hey, like I said, no shame in that. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to plug this other computer in. One of the nice things about working at this desk is I can have more tools at my disposal, so at least within arm's reach. Because when I was standing in front of the green screen, everything was on the other side of the room, no matter what what it was. So much easier to do things. Though I probably should have plugged that in before I started the live stream. So we'll get kind of closer in on this particular storm. This is the one that prompted the warning, and I think it's still capable of small hail, gusty winds as this thing prepares to enter the Whitney area, maybe even between Whitney and Aquila there, and on towards Abbott. So if we put this into motion, you can kind of see where this thing is going. So it looks like it could ride right up 22 through Whitney, through Hillsboro, and then probably on kind of right there in the right there along the county line there. So between Italy and Blooming Grove, that seems to be kind of the track right now. We'll see what this does. And looks like it's going to stay north of Hubbard. I see that question on YouTube. Crystal Rios, Eureka, looks like it. I mean, it could get close to there at least. Well, let's see. I think I'm getting Eureka and M House mixed up. M House could be close. Eureka is going to be farther south. So yeah, Eureka probably not, because it's going to go, if it moves through parts of Navarro County, it's going to be the northern part of the county there. I think you're far enough south that this probably won't impact you. And I see the emails coming in about advertising. I will get back to those. I will get back to those later today. So just be patient with me. I've I've got I've got so many emails just all the time that I always feel bad if I don't reply immediately. But I'll get to those probably this evening, and we'll talk about that. So Joey, you're asking about Palmer. Palmer is quite a ways downstream, so we're gonna have to see what this does, see if it weakens or not, or what the situation is before we really know what to expect in that particular area. So I would say Palmer, we got to be patient there. I'm not really gonna know what to expect there for probably a while here. I need to see what this does through Hill County. It may not even exist by the time it gets to that part of the county. But if anything, right now, I would say it's probably more likely to go south of Palmer, at least the stronger part of the storm. You can see that there's quite a bit of rain out here. This is a nice little complex of rain, all the way from back to Hamilton, really farther back from there. My goodness, you look at this kind of just this train here, and you can see the way that this is kind of lifting. The whole thing appears to be lifting northward a little bit. So if we can get more rain to fill in here and get that to kind of stick around more consistently, then much of our area will get a pretty decent and much needed rain today. That's my hope. Bobby, you're asking how much rain we'll get. I really have no idea. This is kind of one of these situations where it's scattered rain that's kind of developing and not. It's developing and kind of weakening off and on. So it's hard to say how much rain to expect today. It's going to largely depend on how much rain is in these storms by the time it gets to that area, and then how much of it sticks around. So, and eventually, all of this, of course, will be pushed out by the cold front. So, it's hard to say right now exactly how much rain to expect. So here's the storms that we have right now. Of course, the main storm we've been looking at moving right into the Whitney area now, going to be moving towards Hillsborough. Eventually, probably at this point, it looks like it's going to ride right up 34. So Italy, Avalon, Ennis, on up from that way. So that looks to be the track right now. So Hillsborough, probably parts of Milford, Italy, and then on up 34. That looks to be the track right now of the heaviest part of this storm. But you can see there's plenty of rain here to go along with it. So I think most of us, at least those of us north of Hillsborough and probably north of Corsicana, will get rain at least. And we got more rain popping up down in McLennan County here, even, and behind it from San Saba towards Killeen, Gatesville. More scattered rain, but there is rain out there. So that at least is a helpful sign. We can definitely, I think, bank on more than 30% for sure of a rain chance today. I was fairly conservative with my rain chances today, and looks like we are fortunate. Very fortunate, and even more so if we can get these storms to weaken here and kind of take out the hail and wind threat. The Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service, they canceled that warning. So that tells me, checking some models here, that tells me that this storm will probably weaken like the other one did. So I think that will be a helpful situation. Remember, we got less than an inch of rain. At least most of us did. Most of us got less than an inch of rain in December. I recorded 0.6 of an inch of rain in December. That is wild. I haven't looked at the numbers at DFW and Waco yet, but I can almost guarantee everybody got less than they're supposed to. Less than normal for sure. Rhonda, I can't remember when you signed up for Weather Call, so you should get a notice that you signed up for Weather Call, and I appreciate you mentioning that. You will get a notice, I believe, 30 days before it renews. that's going to happen. So that way you're notice you get that notice ahead of time. And today's a perfect example of why you want weather call. We talked about how unlikely storms were, how unlikely severe weather was. It just decided to make it happen anyway. And today's a good example of why you want to have weather call, because when you're not really expecting it, it's still going to call you. You don't have to be locked in like I am with all of the severe weather possibilities and everything. You don't have to be full time all the time at it like I am. You can be going about your day, and if a warning is issued for your area, you're going to get that phone call, and it's going to be my voice, so you know it's reputable. We've got that little widget below me here. If you look below where I'm shown here, gives you a little information, and then you can click the link in the chat or scan that QR code to get more information, get started. And I'll put that link in the chat session here too, just so that is there for you. But yes, if you're renewing, and we've got a lot of renewals, and we'll have more as we get into the next few months. And I always love seeing that, because to me, if you renew weather call, that means it works. That means that I am endorsing the right thing, and so you'll get about a 30-day notice that it's gonna renew. Getting asked about Hubbard again, I don't expect much to hit Hubbard. I think Hubbard may get some scattered showers today, but the severe part of the storm, or at least what was severe, the strongest part of the storm currently hitting the Whitney area, I don't expect that to hit the Hubbard area. I mean, you can see here's the storm near Whitney. Hubbard is way over here in southern Hill County. Not expecting much there at this point. So just looking at the HR model here, it looks like the dry air is going to move in around 9-10 o'clock there. So that will push all of this moisture east. So presumably from now until about 9 or 10 o'clock, we have a chance of some showers and thunderstorms. And if we can get more rain in here, that will be phenomenal, because we have been seeing those drought conditions deteriorating in our area. In fact, I haven't posted yesterday's map yet, but my word, the abnormally dry conditions are definitely expanding across the area, covering almost all of Navarro and Hill counties, creeping up into Ellis County, almost getting to Johnson County. So that situation is going to deteriorate quickly if we cannot get some rain in here, but plenty of rain moving through right now. A good soaking going right through most of Hill County. And then there's just kind of more scattered rain here. We've got more showers and thunderstorms potentially developing in McLennan County here. So we're talking about Hubbard. Doesn't look like the strongest part of the storm is going to hit there, but I do think Hubbard will get at least some scattered showers and storms. We got more in Freestone and Limestone counties here. So backing this off a little bit, we've got more showers developing. So even if we don't have severe weather, which I'm fine not having any of that today, we're at least going to get some decent rain through here, and that is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. So let's try to look at some comments here and things too, make sure I'm not missing any information. Seeing some decent pictures of hail in the Clifton area. So a decent bit of hail in this storm earlier today, but it does look like that storm has weakened, as the National Weather Service was saying. And, that storm going to continue to move northeast. I think hail and gusty winds are still possible, but probably below severe limits. And that severe limit, again, if you're not as familiar, 58 miles per hour or greater for the winds, an inch or more in diameter for the hail. That's your severe thunderstorm criteria for those warnings. Bobby asking about Joshua and Godly. It's that we've kind of been talking about that. It's just going to be scattered showers and thunderstorms through the rest of the day. The severe part of that storm, or at least the stronger part of that storm, will go south of there, but showers and storms are possible. I don't think severe is very likely in that area at this point, because I think this may be, it's risky to say this, I know, but it doesn't look like any of the other activity is as intense as this storm is. So I'm not expecting much in terms of severe weather for the rest of the day. So I don't think Joshua or Godly area will see severe weather today. But if it does, we will keep you updated. I've seen a lot of, I know you comment a lot asking about that particular area specifically. So, but right now, I think that things are going to be pretty docile there. Just off and on rain, probably possible through the rest of the day for Joshua and Godly. So if we zoom this out a little bit, you can see again kind of two areas of rain. So there's been this kind of line of showers stretching from East Texas down towards San Antonio there almost, and then right in our area we just had these couple of storms. One that weakened pretty quickly as it moved northeast into our area, just brought some rain to parts of Ellis and Johnson counties. You can see that there now moving into Dallas County. And then this storm, you can see the severe thunderstorm warnings that were prompted, but that has since been allowed to expire, canceled really. And the heaviest part of that storm currently moving through the Whitney area here. Let me put that in a kind of pause that there. You can see the strongest part of that storm moving through Whitney, headed right for Hillsboro, but it is weakening right now. So I'm not expecting severe conditions out of this going forward. Heavy rain, lightning, thunder, maybe some small hail, gusty winds, but nothing severe. Jill asking about Ennis, and so as far as the Ennis area, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what this does, how much of that is left. I do think at least the remnants of this storm may be reach Ennis, but won't be severe by that point. It's already weakened below severe limits, and that trend is going to continue. So for the rest of the day here, I'm not expecting severe weather. I think this might have been our one show, and then I think everything else beyond that. Man, this map is it's kind of goofy today. I think everything else outside of that, especially farther southwest, you can see that there are some scattered storms, but I don't think that we're going to be looking at severe weather necessarily for that area. So I'll put this back into motion. You can see there's more developing to the southwest, but nothing near as intense as that severe storm we had earlier that brought pretty decent hail to the Clifton area. I've been looking at some pictures and pretty impressive out of that little storm there. But I think that, it probably grabbed whatever lift and whatever instability was in the air, and then everything else will be just some rain with some lightning and thunder. And I think that's probably going to be about it. So that's what we've got. We've got this storm, the kind of this line that has developed here. The heaviest of this right in the Whitney area right now, headed towards Hillsboro. Eventually, that'll be headed towards Mertens and Blooming Grove, probably towards the Italy Evelyn area. I think it may well just split right between 22 and 34 there, right there along the Ellis and Navarro County lines. But outside of that, I think it's going to be just some pockets of heavy rain, some lightning, thunder, that sort of thing moving through. Unfortunately, it may, impact some dismissal with the kids, but just, be careful with that. If the teachers move the kids back inside, which they may do based on the lightning situation, right? They may decide to kind of change how they're doing that. So if they make that change, then hey, trust the teachers. They know what they're doing. And Dylan, you're asking about Currens. It's still a pretty good ways away from Currens. I mean, you can see Currens way off to the east. So hard to say exactly what Currens is going to get, but I would say scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible through the afternoon and evening. It's just going to be kind of what, depending on, at least in terms of this storm here, which is the one we were putting all our attention into, if that one holds together, it'll be quite a bit weaker probably before it arrives. So the Currens area, I think you may see some scattered showers and storms as all of this activity moves northeast, but it's really going to depend on how much of it actually reaches there because it's all weakening as it progresses. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're seeing is just this storm has weakened. There's still some lightning, thunder, possibly some small hail. getting gusty winds in it. It's probably still a strong storm, but it's not doesn't look severe at this point. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and wrap up live coverage for now. It looks like the severe weather threat has subsided here, and this is still a strong storm. You still got a little bit of a rocky thunderstorm headed your way there in Hillsborough, but for the most part, it looks like things have relaxed for a little while. So I'm going to continue to monitor this, continue to post updates on the page. But for now, the severe weather threat has subsided, but more showers and thunderstorms are possible through the day. And hey, we can definitely use the rain, so be thankful for it. And more updates are to come throughout.